We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash that like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and your friends if you want to support this college football's Rebel Outpost with a donation. Hit the $ where you make a comment, and I'll get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody, and I mean everybody, into the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Be not afraid. Be not afraid to become a legend in the chat room with the comments and with your phone calls later in the show. I said yesterday that we would update the story that is going on in the world of private equity. We had a live show yesterday where I was given the go-ahead to give you the peek, and I know I did not give much information, but now we can give more. We can give more information. And for those who have been following this show for a couple years, this YouTube channel, this is how we work it. Now, I did not know that we were going to be able to have a major update today, but we can and we will. This is how it works. We poke and prod, we poke and prod, we poke and prod, and then we get the go ahead to say just a little bit more. And now we can say out in the open that what I was discussing yesterday was going on in Big 12 country. It is why I could not put it in the Holy Smokes Theater. I could not put it in the theater. I could not put it in the theater because, well, I could not say where it was happening. But today I can. Today, this is part of the ongoing drama, private equity. Now, I say thank you. So we got a stack show today. Holy smokes. Yikes. Yikes, 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 yikes. We've got a stack show today. I saw, and I thank you to Mrs. Arkansas Razorback Jamie, who just sent me a notification of what Bavakwa said, the athletic director of Notre Dame. Let me show you this. Thank you. Let me show you this. From the Irish Sports Daily. Bavakwa, we definitely do not see private equity as the answer for Notre Dame. That came out 31 minutes ago. 31 minutes ago. So, yeah. Notre Dame has the same take on private equity, or at least at this moment, as the SEC and the Big Ten. But not everybody has that same take, obviously. We talked about it a little bit when they had the meeting in Dallas, where some presidents, some athletic directors, some representatives of some institutions within the Big Ten, not the Big Ten, in the Big 12 and the ACC, were shown presentations of those two super leagues, right? Those two theories on the Super League, which of course is backed by major private equity, billions of dollars. And we said at the time, there were some ACC schools that were at that presentation. We know, well, we could talk about 4 of them in the open. And then there was some Big 12 institutions that were at that presentation of the Super Leagues. Excuse me here. I gotta sneeze real quick. Sorry, guys. So again, so we can finally get more clear on this. Not finally, we started. I did not think we were going to be able to have this major update today, but I got the go-ahead. Yet last night's show was about the Big 12. And some institutions, at least one in particular, is they're leaking like a sieve. There are some institutions that are very pro-private equity. Some institutions have not been sold on it yet. So we talk about the Big 12 being this unified conference. I talk about it, you talk about it, the national reporters talk about it, everyone talks about it. But on this issue, there isn't quite unification. It's not unified. The Big 12 is not unified. We here at Peek Around the Corner do not know the whole story. We don't. Remember how frustrated I got in the spring of 2024 saying that I cannot look into the keyhole of what is happening, and eventually it opened up for us. And on June 15th, we had Petiti and Sankey lead the Holy Smokes Theater, and no on expansion, no Florida State and Clemson are not the top targets of the Big Ten, no. And then it all was reported about 8 weeks later. A couple of doors have opened for the Peek Around the Corner. A couple doors on this private equity story. A couple of them. Not all of them. But a couple of them have. And more than a couple. More than 2, way less than 16 when it comes to the Big 12 portion of this story, which is only part of this story. That is what we were talking about last night. I was not able to say Big 12. I was only able to give you guys just a peek and let you know more was coming. Today, more is coming. So we are going to get to that story at the back end of this monologue. The information that we deliver to you today, again, is probably not going to be enough to satisfy any of you. But you know how this works. This is the Holy Smokes Theater. People are seated. People are at the popcorn line. They're getting their diet cherry Coca-Cola. They're getting their cheese and corn, those chips. There is no meat in the cheese. There is no cheeseburgers. We only sell burgers. But this is how it works. We're going to be able to hopefully give you more and more and more information as the 2025 calendar year comes into focus in the spring. But the Big 12 is not unified on this question. Neither is the ACC. But we are focusing right now on the Big 12. Because there is a rumbling going on. A rumbling that is going on. And what can Brett Yormark do about it? We are going to get into that at the back half. Let me do a roll call here. We've got a few stories to get to. We are going to make our playoff picks against the spread. We are going to get more. We're going to talk about all these games on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're going to be doing a Friday night watch party. We're going to be doing watch parties on Saturdays. This is college football playoff central here at Peek Around the Corner. Nobody has done more watch parties in all the college football YouTube channels than this one. And it's not even close. Of course we're going to do the college football playoff watch parties. And I hope you join us. We have a lot of fun. It's going to be dramatic, leading off with Friday night, Notre Dame in Indiana. So we're going to make our picks today. I'm going to go first. You all are going to go second on the 4 games. We already did the bowl selections for the first 3 bowl games of this week. We did it yesterday. Today is the playoffs. I'm also going to be doing my own. I'm going to be showing you PATC rankings of the 12 starting quarterbacks in the playoffs. And you all are going to let me know how wrong I got it once again. And let me know in the chat room how I got it wrong, how you would rank them, and with your phone calls later on. So we're going to be doing a ranking, selections, and of course we're going to be talking about the major update. Now you'd be saying, great. Why are you spending so much time on this? Why? Why? Why do you have a drama? Why do you have a drama? The invasion of the private equity. What are you doing? Well, it's because I mean, why do you think the questions are being asked, and why do you think they're being answered right now by some institutions? Notre Dame Bavacqua he's let it known, we definitely do not see private equity as the answer for Notre Dame. Well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? In the next weeks ahead, you're going to be hearing comments from other athletic directors saying, well, we're looking at it. We may be in favor of it. We're in favor of it. No, we're not in favor of it. Or they're going to be silent, which is going to tell you something. This question is going to be asked more and more because the buzzing sound around this major issue is at a fever pitch. So we are college football's peek around the corner here. And that is why we're talking about it, because the chatter behind the curtain is talking about it. The athletic directors are talking about it. The presidents are making decisions about it. So we've only just begun on this major story in college football. Okay, let me do the roll call. We've got a lot to get to. I want to thank everybody for joining us here on a noontime or 1:16 Eastern Time, 12:16 Central Time. GT is in the house. Chief Fan is here. Let's go, Mountaineers. The Big Lubbock. We're going to be talking Red Raiders here in a moment. We're going to be talking about the Red Raiders in a moment when it comes to their portal acquisitions. Nathan Campbell is in the house. AMAC is here. Jay Go Blue, Antoine Coates. Antoine Coates! He's getting all heated up. He's going to be watching that Texas-Clemson game very, very, very close while Queen Morales, another Sun Devil in the house. They're all over the place. The Sun Devils are all over the place. Healing, Florida is in the house. CFB Plus, what a time to go live. And we also have an update on the drone story out there. We got issues. Tumasta is in the house. Ray, Buckeye. Ray, happy Tuesday is here. Stephen McNeely, AMAC, Bob Swanger, Notre Dame, yes, yep. And he was asked the question, right? Right? Why was he asked the question? Because I can say this, because reporters are all working on this story. They're trying to figure it out. Everybody is trying to figure it out. He's not going to be the last athletic director to answer the question. What? Let me. He's not going to be the last athletic director to be asked the question. A lot of them don't want to answer the question right now. It just so happens that Notre Dame's policy on private equity matches up with the SEC and the Big Ten. And we'll leave that the way it is. I'm tired of the Big 12 inertia. They will lose your mark if they keep blocking them. Charles M. is in the house. Kansas Jayhawks, Vox Quindaro, Mary Flugarians is in the house. Friends, call me Sean. Let's see if we can make this clear as mud. It's going to get a little more clear today as we go on. Caleb Ramirez is here. Patrick is here. Kill Ball is here. Terry Kane is in the house. Mr. Buffalo Richard L. is here. Black Rain is in the house. Connecticut fan is here. Larry Andrick, Mr. West Virginia Mountaineer, is in the house. It is everywhere and top of the mind. Notre Dame doesn't need the influx of cash. X-Files Flugar is the top 3 Flugar. Well, all right. Let's just say this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just say this, if I can find it. Once again, this just came out 20 minutes ago, right when we were starting live. Again, this is not about college football. We're going to get to it. We've got a big stack show today. Tyler Rogoway, multiple drones incursions reported over the Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton. This is the first Marine Corps facility to acknowledge drones incursions during the recent wave of sightings at bases across the country. Okay? Again, looking at videos, people taking videos of these drones or not drones, misidentifications, their planes, their helicopters. I mean, that's all interesting. I can understand if I live in New Jersey or Connecticut or New York or wherever, and I've got something flying over my house at 6 in the morning, at 3 in the morning, at 11 at night, and it's making a bunch of noise, and it looks like a big drone. I get the worry. I get the consternation. I get that this is a problem. I get all that. All that is important. All of that is important. But I am not even, I got to be honest with you, I really am I'm not interested in all that. I mean, it's important, but what is really driving the story at the Capitol and serious people is the incursions over military installations. And this is the latest wave of it. It's happened years prior. It happened over our Navy ships in 2019. It happened over Langley in 2023. It just happened over the UK. These drones flying over our installations, and they're not supposed to be there. And they're drones. They're not airplanes. They're hovering. They're not airplanes. And yet we have no reports about anybody being arrested, anybody being caught. We don't have any reports that they're Chinese, that they're Russians, whatever. Again, it just had more reporting on over Camp Pendleton. That's the story. And that is what everyone wants to know, what the hell's going on. You can't have drones. You guys, you cannot fly your Walmart drones over Camp Pendleton. It shouldn't even work. It won't work. That's the story. That's the mystery. A lot of misidentifications of drones, they're airplanes. Okay, fine. But that's not even the story. That isn't really the story. The story is we're not able to recognize, we're not able to track these drones and where they're landing. Why can't we track where we should be at? Whoever the characters are that are doing this, they've already should have been caught. Why haven't they been caught? Or have they been caught and they're keeping it a secret? Why don't our senators and governors know on the northeastern seaboard? Why don't they know what the hell's going on? This whole story that it's all airplanes, or it's all hobbyists, or it's all just innocent commercial drones dropping off Walmart packages, or the story that they're sniffing out a radioactive material that's lost. None of that is logical. None of it. Because this is like fourth or fifth wave of this stuff. And no governor or senator has been let in on the fact that something is going on where there's missing radio. None of this makes sense. That is my strongly held opinion. It still doesn't make sense. And if this is all innocent, if this is all hobbyist, why are they having a classified meeting today at the Capitol at 3 o'clock Eastern? If this is all innocent. It makes no sense to me. Anyways, this is a college football YouTube channel show. So let's get on with it. You can all disagree with me. My goodness. Let's get to it. The Evil Badger, Ryan Willie. Disappointed, Evil Badger, with the Badgers adding Billy Edwards to the quarterback room. I honestly do not have a real strong opinion on this, Ryan. Billy Edwards was a lot better this year than I thought he was going to be. I mean, he played some good football. And he played not some, he played not some good football. This was his first year as a starter. I think Maryland Terrapin fans in the PATC family would tell you that he made some big plays, made some boneheaded plays. He looked awful against Minnesota. I mean, he looked really bad. But he had some decent games. Is it telling though? Is it Wisconsin couldn't get a bigger target? I think Billy Edwards might work out great for Wisconsin. He might. I don't really. He has promise. But I was expecting Wisconsin to go for and to be able to get a bigger target on the market. So, very interesting. Ryan Willie, thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it so very much. Luke Kromenhoek has committed to Mississippi State. The Florida State young quarterback went in the portal. He's committed to Mississippi State. Interesting. Texas Tech. Now, Texas Tech. Kirby Holcutt, one of the first athletic directors to detail distribution of the $20.5 million revenue share by sport. So Texas Tech is going to do the $20.5 million. 15.1 of it is going to go to football. 3.6 million of it is going to go to men's basketball. $410,000 is going to go to women's basketball. Is BSB, is that baseball? $390,000, and then $920,000 to other sports. So 90% of it to football and to men's basketball. Of course, most of it going to football. Are these going to be similar numbers to what we see across the country? Probably. The football piece, $15 million, $14 million. 90% of the $20.5 million, I think that is going to be similar, right? Now, the others is going to be different across the country. I mean, men's basketball, women's basketball. Texas Tech is putting a lot of money or some of their money into the baseball. Some schools, like in the Big Ten, you're going to see women's volleyball up there, right? In the SEC, that baseball number might be a little bit higher. Other things might be a little bit lower. Minnesota, there's got to be men's hockey, women's hockey's got to be up there. So I think the Gophers football program probably isn't going to get $15 million in the salary. Maybe $14 million, maybe $13 million. Although our men's basketball might not get as much as $3.6 million. There's going to be different numbers. And hopefully we're going to be seeing more and more of this transparency of how these athletic departments go about this. What money they're going to go to each sports in their athletic department. Speaking of the Texas Tech Red Raiders, ESPN showing 5 teams, 5 football programs who have gotten a hot start, a very hot start in the portal, leading off with the Texas Tech Red Raiders. The Red Raiders are absolutely going to be buyers in the cycle and determined to assemble one of the best portal classes in the country. Texas Tech has secured 7 transfer commitments for 2025 and expects several more. The biggest win so far was beating Florida and Oklahoma for Miami's transfer wide receiver Reggie Virgil. And we talked about this, I think, yesterday or the day before. Virgil can play. I've watched him play. He's got ability. He's got talent. No question about it. The Red Raiders boosted their secondary with safety, the kid from North Dakota State, Mississippi State's Pollock, Dante Belfour of Charlotte. They saw their need at offensive tackle with Illinois State. The guy Zambrano, a lot of people went after him, but the Texas Tech Red Raider got him. He was the number 3 tackle in the ESPN transfer ranking. All defensive tackle, Skylar Gill Howard from Northern Illinois. Texas Tech is going in. They're going to be one of those teams that are going all in on the portal right now. They're sending a message early that it's the Big 12 title or bust in 2025. Texas Tech Red Raiders. LSU have already collected quite a few high-impacted players. SEC's most productive playmakers in Kentucky's Berrien Brown. They also found the next starting tight end in Oklahoma transfer, Bauer Sharp, and might have secured their quarterback in the future in Mississippi State's transfer, Michael Van Buren. They landed another top 10 transfer Monday in Virginia Tech's Mansour Delane and our number 1 ranked quarterback to go along with the talented former corner Jakeem Jackson. And 2 proven edge rushers in Nebraska's Jamari Butler, who had a really good year in 2024. Butler was really good. And Florida's Jack Pryburn, I don't know about Jack. He had an okay season with the Gators. I think if you ask the Gator fans, they're okay with seeing Jack Pryburn leave. He's got 1 more year of eligibility, trying to improve his NFL stock with the LSU Tigers. Ole Miss, who loves portal season more than Lane Kiffin. Who loves portal season more than Lane Kiffin? The Rebels coach has scooped up 3 Arkansas transfers. Their tight end, offensive lineman, cornerback, edge rusher from Nebraska, LSU, a massive offensive line prospect in Charlotte transfer, P.J. Wilkins. Ole Miss is also in the race for the top transfer receivers, Eric Singleton Jr. And that Eric Singleton Jr., as far as I know, as we do on our live show, has not made his decision. There are 5 teams in the mix. Ole Miss is one of them. And Dane Keene to Kentucky, as well as Alabama transfer running back Justice Haynes. Now, Justice Haynes has like 4 or 5 programs hot after him. One of them being the Ohio State Buckeyes. My beloved Minnesota Golden Gophers, listed as one of the 5 teams that has done well early on in the portal. PJ Fleck is leading the way with early 10 transfer commits, more than any Power 4 program. The Gophers landed one of the Sun Belt's best running backs, Marshall's A.J. Turner, to pair up with the Darius Taylor, the Beast, Cameron Davis, Washington, Cole Cabana, the 4-star Michigan recruit of a couple years ago. Miami of Ohio receiver Javon Tracy, a surprise. One of the best MAC this season. He was a big get, a surprise. I'm honestly surprised the Gophers were able to get Javon Tracy. In Georgia Tech transfer, Zach Pyron, who could be a steal as well, the quarterback, the big guy. Minnesota also grabbed 2 FCS transfers. Stephen Curtis and the big one, Stony Brooks, Rashawn Lawrence. The Gophers are loading up quickly with quality pickups. The Auburn Tigers, Hugh Freeze got his guy quarterback in Oklahoma transferred, Jackson Arnold. So Auburn has their quarterback. Hugh Freeze has his quarterback. This is the year for Hugh Freeze, right? Auburn, they're going to have to win more than 5 games this year in 2025. They added one of the top offensive tackles in the portal, Virginia Tech's Xavier Chaplin. They picked up Miami of Ohio, Rayon Stradler, and the number 3 cornerback in ESPN transfer rankings and first-team All-MAC performer. They also found an intriguing sleeper in UConn transfer running back Darrell Robinson, who was one of the most productive freshman backs in the FBS this season with 806 total yards and 8 touchdowns. A big loss for the UConn Huskies. Okay, so that is the portal. It is still revving up, ready to go. A lot of big targets out there. A lot of big ones. Texas Tech, though, right now, ESPN, the Red Raiders are sending a message. It's the Big 12 championship or bust in 2025. Wow, we'll see. We'll see about that. We'll keep an eye on that situation. Let's talk about the playoffs here. Before we get to our selections. I've ranked these playoff quarterbacks. Gunnar Stockton 12, Maddox Madsen 11. The college football playoff starting quarterbacks, ranking them 12-1. And how I rank them is positive impact on their team in the playoffs. Not how they played during the season, not their rankings. I'm trying to predict the positive impact they will have on their playoff team. Gunnar Stockton, look, he hasn't played. He's barely played. He got in. The big story is the starting quarterback, Georgia Carson Beck, is out with an injury. Gunnar Stockton coming in, number 12. Maddox Madsen, number 11. Number 10, Nico, Tennessee. Number 9, Kevin Jennings. Again, this is my rankings of the starting quarterbacks of the playoffs. Kevin Jennings, number 9. Number 8, Quinn Ewers. Again, I've got Quinn Ewers, number 8. That might be controversial. I don't know what you guys are going to think about that. I think Texas, if they win the national championship, of course Quinn Ewers is going to have to play good. But I think it's the defense. I think it's the defense that wins it for the Longhorns. Number 7, Sam Levitt. I've got him ranked almost in the middle of the 12 starting quarterbacks. Now, some of you might think that's a little high. I don't think so. I think Sam Levitt is a very good quarterback. He's playing great right now. It looks like he's healthy. He lost his number 1 wide receiver, so he's going to have to make a big impact for Arizona State. I think he's good enough. I think he's ready. Number 6, Cade Klubnik. I would never have had Klubnik ranked number 6, but he's coming on. His leadership, I think the game has completely slowed down for him. Cade Klubnik, number 6. I got him ahead of Quinn Ewers. Clemson versus Texas, and I've got Clemson's quarterback ahead of Texas quarterback when it comes to positive impact. Now, I think Clemson has some problems in the running game. Phil Maffa, injured shoulder. Backup quarterback is out. They're going to rely on a freshman running back to do a lot of carries. I think Texas is going to smother Clemson offense. But anyways, Cade Klubnik, number 6 on the list. Number 5, Drew Aller, Penn State. Number 4, Will Howard. Now, I would have had Will Howard in the top 2, in the top 3. But I can't get the Buckeye-Wolverine game out of my head. The way that Chip Kelly and I'm sorry, Ryan Day, they did not trust Will Howard to make decisions at the line of scrimmage. They did not trust him. So maybe I should have Will Howard at 8 or 9. I don't know. It's a confusing situation. I'm more confused on the Buckeyes right now than I've been in a long time. And we're going to be doing that game Saturday night, Ohio State, Tennessee. We're going to be making our picks on the game today. Number 3, Riley Leonard. Yep. Riley Leonard has been so incredibly impactful for the Irish. He was the great pickup in the transfer portal. Number 3, Riley Leonard. And I cannot, no way could I rank him lower than 3. He deserves that spot. Number 2, Curtis Rourke. And there's no way I could put this guy lower than number 2. No way. No way. And I think we're going to get a good dose of Curtis Rourke on Friday night and why he's going to be drafted higher than a lot of people expected in the NFL draft. The positive impact of Curtis Rourke on Indiana Friday night, I think, is going to be clear. And number 1, Dillon Gabriel. Those are my rankings of the top 12 most positive, impactful quarterbacks going into the playoffs. Gunnar Stockton, number 12. Maddox Madsen, 11. Nico, 10. Mr. Jennings, 9. Quinn Ewers, 8. Sam Levitt, 7. Cade Klubnik, 6. Drew Aller, 5. Will Howard, 4. Riley Leonard, Fighting Irish, 3. Curtis Rourke, Hoosiers, number 2. And Dillon Gabriel, number 1. Let me know how wrong I got that. Let me know how wrong I got those rankings. With your comments in the chat room and with your phone calls after this monologue is over. Will Howard way too high. The Michigan game was enough proof. I think you make a good point, Steve. I think you make a very good point. Um, Greg is right. UConn losing Robinson. Yeah. Yeah, that one hurts. That one hurts. We'll see how he does. Okay. Let's get to Greg. Those rankings are about as good as your picks. Well, now that you mentioned it, we are going to our picks right now. Yesterday, when we did the three bowl games, we all took Memphis, James Madison, and UNLV to cover. Okay? Memphis, James Madison, and UNLV. The three bowl games early this week. We had the same picks. I think we're both going to go 3-0. Today, I'm going to go first. We're going to do the four first-round playoff games. And, of course, we're going to talk more and more about this on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're going to be doing the watch parties. Plenty of playoff football talk here. A big moment in South Bend. I'm going to go first. No, I did not do the private equity update yet. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Okay. Indiana, Notre Dame. Epic game. First playoff game in the expanded playoffs, right? It's gonna be, what is the weather gonna be? Let's check that out. "30 degrees, 30% chance of snow." I did a little bit more investigation of that weather, and I got to be honest, that snow, the accumulation, if it does hit on that 30% chance of snow, the accumulation is going to be very, very light. I'm pretty sure we're not going to see snow on the football field. Let's put it that way. And during the game, there might be a little bit of a flurry of snow. And the wind is going to be about 11 miles per hour. 11 miles per hour. Again, we did a deep dive here, right? We're making our picks. I got to know I got to have all the information. Breaking down the tapes. Greg the Gold. Indiana at Notre Dame. I think Indiana is going to give one hell of an effort. I think the problem is going to arise with Indiana giving Curtis Rourke enough breathing space. You saw that against the Buckeyes. I think Indiana was ready to play, but they just could not hold off that Ohio State Buckeyes defensive line. It's the same problem the Volunteers are going to have, by the way. And I think that's what's going to get Curtis Rourke. I think there's going to be a turnover at a key moment. I think Riley Leonard is playing with that offensive coordinator Everything is going smooth for Notre Dame. Jeremiah Love, the great running back, Jadarian Price, they've got the running game. They've got a good enough passing game. Riley Leonard's going to make plays. And I think the defense is going to make a play. I've got the Fighting Irish covering the 7.5 point spread. Now, let me make this clear. I think Indiana's going to play a pretty good football game. I think they're going to be in it. And of course they can win this game. Of course they can. But guys and gals, I am very high on this Notre Dame team. I think they're one of the 4 teams that can win the national championship. Now, of course, all of them can. It's a 12-team playoff. They've all got a chip and a chair and a chance. They're all at the table with a chip, and they've got it on the table. They've all got a chance. But I see the pathway for Notre Dame. I see the pathway for Texas and Georgia and Oregon. Right now, I do. And I think Notre Dame, the first game in South Bend, they come away with a victory by 10. I've got Notre Dame covering. Penn State, SMU. Again, the weather. Now, some of you might say you're taking too much of weather into consideration. I'm taking everything into consideration. I think you got to take everything into consideration. State College, 25 degrees, partly sunny. And now I've been seeing, I have saw one weather forecast between 20 and 25. That's the only update that I have seen. Penn State minus 8.5. Again, I am all on the Nittany Lions in this game. Jennings, now there is a reason why I had him ranked number 9 on the quarterback list. He's good. He's very good. He's had a great first year. But he's going to be playing in front of 100,000 crazy people. 100,000 crazy people. The atmosphere is going to be nothing that he's seen. And once Penn State gets rolling in this game, they are going to roll on through and they're going to win this game by more than 8.5. Tyler Warren's going to have a big game. The Nittany Lions cover. If it was a neutral game and Penn State was favored by 5.5, 4.5, I'd be thinking about taking SMU. But this home game, this home field advantage is going to be felt. Penn State. Texas Clemson. I can't believe I'm saying this. I cannot believe I'm saying this. But I give the quarterback advantage to Clemson. I think Klubnik's going to be the better quarterback in this game. I think Texas is going to be the better team. Clemson's got some injuries in the backfield. Clemson wide receivers are going to have a hard time. Longhorns defense is going to be smothering the Clemson Tigers. But I think this is going to be a close game. And we might even see Arch Manning in this game. to be honest with you. I have got Clemson covering. Clemson plus 11 and a half. And then the final one. Tennessee at Ohio State. Oh, boy. Obviously, we're going to be doing a watch party here Saturday night. This game is just a load of confusion. Again, I can't get the Buckeyes game out of my mind against the Wolverines. The way they planned that game, the way they strategized that game, it was all wrong. All wrong. I do happen to think the Buckeyes are going to win this game. You guys know how I feel about Tennessee. I think in the SEC, I think there is a large gap between Georgia and Texas and Tennessee. A large drop. I think the Tennessee's offensive line is going to get destroyed. Nico is going to have to be on the move. And he'll make some plays. I love the Volunteers running back. Sampson, he's got to make a lot of plays for himself. But I think the Buckeyes defensive line is going to be the absolute story of this game. And they're not going to need Will Howard to win this game. They're not going to need Chip Kelly to trust in Will Howard to win this game. But are they going to need them to cover the spread? I got the Buckeyes covering. I am that down on the Volunteers' chances. Saturday night, I think the Buckeyes roll, and hopefully the passing game snaps out of it. I got the Ohio State Buckeyes. Okay, so I've got Notre Dame, Penn State, Clemson, and Ohio State. Let's do you guys. Now you guys are going to vote on them. Are you ready? PATC family, PATC geniuses, are you ready? Are you ready? Let's do this thing. Here we go. The reputation of the PATC family is on the line. Does Notre Dame cover the minus 7.5 point spread versus Indiana? The voting begins now. Vox Quindaro, the PATC chat geniuses, are bolted in. AMAC says PATC is always ready, Greg. Well, why did you guys end up with the same record as I had? I mean, that is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Flame for Jesus. I wouldn't count Clemson out. Ears seems to struggle in big games. Quinn Ears is talking about maybe coming on back. Gold Black 45. Penn State should be prepared. They have the second most days games behind Ohio State. AMAC, PATC geniuses are going to separate from the cooler this week. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. 5 more seconds on the vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 56% says no. The geniuses in the PATC family takes Indiana. Holy smokes. Indiana to cover. My goodness. I'm a little shocked. I got to tell you. SMU, Penn State. Does Penn State cover? Minus 8.5 point spread. versus SMU. This is going to be interesting. Very interesting. The voting begins now. Go Black 45. I think Indiana kicks a field goal late to cover. John Grove, he took Notre Dame. The Architect, give me the Hoosiers. John Dry, hope the Ponies win. Rep in Texas. Okay, let's see how the voting's going here. It's a little bit closer. It's a little close here. I'm going to get the voters 5 more seconds to stuff the ballot box. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 53 says yes. It was close. Very close. The PATC family also takes Penn State. My, oh my. That was a close one. What about Texas? What about Clemson? 11.5 points. It's being played in Austin. Does Texas cover the minus 11.5 point spread versus, excuse me, versus Clemson? The voting begins now. The Architect, Penn State going to roll. Bully button will be pushed. The Siri Killer says Texas are frauds. AMAC, please, Clemson, just win, baby. Ray, Indiana can keep it close if the punt team doesn't hand out points like they did to Ohio State. That is, you are correct. I forgot about that, Ray. I forgot about that. I've got Notre Dame, though. I got Notre Dame covering. And I love the Indiana story. I think they're a good team, and I think they deserve to be in the playoffs. But 5 more seconds on the vote, and again, the PATC family turns on the Longhorns. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And for the 1 millionth time in a row, the PATC family takes the team that is playing against Texas. Clemson is the pick for the PATC family. And 1 more game left to go for this week's selections. Does Ohio State cover minus 7.5 point spread versus Tennessee? The voting begins now. Stephen Vitt, Ohio State by 10 over Tennessee. But it'll be nerve-wracking, Ryan Day style. Stephen McNeely, Dogs all the way. The Volunteers. Bill G, Texas soft schedule to catch up. Bill G, Volunteers roll. Oh, I got the hiccups. I've got the hiccups. 5 more seconds. 5 more seconds. 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 56% says no. Mighty interesting. The PATC geniuses take Tennessee. So I've got Notre Dame, Penn State, Clemson, Ohio State covering. You've all got Indiana, Penn State, Clemson, and Tennessee. We agree on Penn State and Clemson covering their games, and that is in the books. It's all in the books. This week's games, 3 bowl games, 4 playoff games. We'll see what happens, guys. We're going to be doing a watch party Friday night all through Saturday. Come join us here at Peek Around the Corner. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Have your notifications turned on. Now we finally going to get to the story, the update inside the Holy Smokes Theater. Give me one moment. I need one moment here. I need one moment just to clean things up. Hold on. I need to check a message. Update. Private equity tipping point. Okay. So again, the question might be asked, Greg, why are you spending all this time on this issue? Why do you have the Holy Smokes Theater open? Why did you have an update yesterday? Why do you have an update today? Well, I did not know we were going to have an update today. But we were given the go-ahead that we can now say a certain thing about it. Some of you guessed it last night. Some of you went off into different areas, which is fine. I don't blame you. But what we were talking about yesterday, if you missed our live show, from a money perch, from information, we couldn't be too specific yesterday. We can be a little bit more specific today. And I anticipate we're going to be more specific in January and way more in February. We are in the Holy Smokes Theater. There's a reason why we opened this up a month ago. And you're going to see it play out before you. And exactly how it all goes, I don't know. I have no idea, and neither does anybody else. But we are in the room. We're in the Holy Smokes Theater. The PATC family is all seated. We got your back row seats. We got you back. We can't have Stephen Vitt and Stephen McNeely and Jay Chapman and AMAC. We can't have them anywhere close to the front rows. Eat your popcorn, have your chips, have your pop, all in the back rows. So yesterday we gave a little peek around the corner. Information that there is at least one institution that is ready to go. They're ready to go. Internally, they have the freedom. I am not going to name that institution, but I'm going to tell you it's in the Big 12. Today I can say that. Last night, or whenever we did the show yesterday, I could not say it. Okay? But now I can say it. The Big 12, as you see in our title screen today, Big 12 not quite unified yet on PE. And that's how it's been, right? Brett Yormark has been, looking at deals, trying to herd everybody, trying to sell it to everybody. He's been talking. He's had presentation of major corporations in front of the Big 12 presidents and athletic directors Some of that's been publicly reported on. Some of it hasn't. The big one is Verizon. A lot of these are connected to private equity prospects. Private equity brings on the contacts. Private equity brings on the good deals. Private equity brings on more value. Bray Yormark believes in private equity in the college football space. There are institutions in the Big 12. One in particular that we know of. We don't know everything. I started the show by saying we've been able to sneak through a few keyholes and then finally a couple doors have opened, but there is a lot that we do not know. And we don't know what we do not know. But there's some stuff we do know, and that we are relaying it to you today. There is at least one institution that is ready to make a move in the Big 12. They are completely sold on it. They want it at a conference level. If they cannot get private equity in as a conference level, they'll do their own private equity deal. Maybe in concert with a conference deal if it ever happens. There are Big 12 institutions. Now, there are Big 12 institutions that are against right now for a conference level private equity deal. Here's the thing. I can name one school. And it's not going to come as a surprise. But I can name one school. Okay, I set this up incorrectly. Let me back up. We know of one school that is ready to make it happen. I cannot name that school. There might be more, but I cannot name that school. There's one school that we know has got it all lined up, but that information is embargoed. I cannot say it, else I will lose a whole bunch of ability to gain more information as the months and the years go on. I hope you understand that. There are schools that they're not for it yet. There are holdouts. One in particular, I cannot name that school. There is one Big 12 school that I have no idea if I don't think they're ready. We don't have any information of them that they're about to flip the switch on private equity, but they're pro-private equity. They're trying to help herd the cats. There is one institution out there that is not making it a secret at all in the Big 12 that they're for private equity. And I can say it right now, and I'm going to put the allegedly with it so I don't get sued. But one school that is pushing for a conference level private equity deal is West Virginia. And to be quite honest with you, I know after I said that, people are going to start giving me quotes on what the athletic director has said about might not being for private equity. But I said what I said. The issue with West Virginia is they're changing the president. They're changing the leadership. So they're doing the push right now. And who knows what West Virginia's position is going to be 6 months from now. But right now they're saying, look, we should do this as a conference. This is viable as a conference. But again, West Virginia is not the school that is ready to pull the trigger on it. As a school, not that we know of. But there is one in particular. And maybe someday, maybe next week, maybe next month, maybe in early January, we're going to be able to tell you what school that is. But I can't right now. The major story is this. There are schools, at least one, and probably at least another one, that has it all lined up. You are not hearing this, I don't think. Maybe it's out there. Maybe it's out. Maybe if you Google it, I don't think it's out there. I do know that there are people that know this isn't just a PAT situation, but people are not going to report on it unless it's all ready to, like the school has made that final decision and whatever. The Big 12 institutions, and now this is not a surprise. It's not a surprise, and we don't know, we don't have a keyhole window to every one of those 16 schools. We don't. But it should not come as a surprise that a 16-team conference, not everybody's going to be at the same spot, especially in regards to something this massive, private equity. And I'm not saying that the Big 12 is not unified. The Big 12 is a pretty unified conference. Let's be honest. And this has given Brett Yormark the ability to set up meetings, to try to show value to these institutions. He's able to do all that. ACC cannot. But they're not all at the same page. Why am I talking about it again Tuesday, December 17th? Greg, why can't you just shut up? Wait until the playoffs are over, Greg. Wait until the playoffs are over. Then you can open up your big trap. I can't. I can't. Now, I know that might have some of you... I know that has some of you leaving, probably want to say, well, I'm not going to watch this program for a while. I understand. We are not for everybody. We are not for everybody. The reason why I'm bringing this up today, guys and gals, and it's okay if you're mad at me. I got no problem with that. You can let me know in the chat room and with the phone calls. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because I have a very, 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 very good reason to believe that I know this to be whatever. The chatter behind the curtain is now going to be asking the question in public. They're asking the questions. I know they have received some answers and they've got it embargoed. They can't talk about it. This is all like, I'm telling you guys and gals, this is all like, no one is supposed to talk about this, right? But, and we're following, and I'm not breaking any confidences. Again, I'm being very careful. You saw the show yesterday. I'm not ruining it. I'm not ruining my relationship with the people that I need to have a relationship with. Everything I've said on this show, I was able to say it. But the questions are going to be starting to be asked in public. And I am so happy. And then once again, I want to thank Go Irish for sending me at Go Irish sent me this about Bavacqua. This happened today. Bavacqua, we definitely do not see private equity as the answer for Notre Dame. you are going to start seeing athletic directors trying to be put on record through public appearances, right? Bavak was talking about the playoffs. He's asked the question. You're going to start to see people, reporters, try to get the athletic directors and presidents on record. Because they know that all these meetings are taking place. Decision time is 2025. Someone's going to leap forward and do it at a certain level, private equity at a certain level. And it's not going to happen in the Big Ten, the SEC, or Notre Dame. It's going to happen somewhere else. And that's why we're talking about it again on Tuesday, December 17th. You should see my DMs. You should see what is said about Peek Around the Corner. Holy smokes. I do appreciate some of you appreciating what we're trying to do here. Daniel Gygax. Really, West Virginia kind of shocked. Well, I will say this. I don't blame you, Mr. Gygax, who does a great job on the Mafia show, College Football Mafia show with Nathan Brown, Wild Ute. I would, you got to remember one thing, though, that is out in public. I can't say what's in private, but I can say what's in public, and that is President Gee did sponsor one of those super leagues. And one of those super leagues, both those super leagues bring in a whole lot of private equity money. I mean, you're heavily involved with private equity. So that is a clue that President Gee is for the marriage of public institutions like a West Virginia to be involved in private equity at some level. Now, the thing is that West Virginia is changing leadership. So, and soon, I believe. The motivation, I'll tell you what the motivation is behind private equity. The motivation is fear. That's the motivation. The motivation is you're going to get left behind. The motivation is somebody's going to do it and it's going to be successful for them. And we did not do it. And now we're going to get further behind. We're going to get further behind, not so much versus the SEC and the Big Ten, which is a huge issue, but we're going to get further behind what is currently our peers when it comes to resources. Because somebody's going to do it and we're not. The motivation is fear. And also, there are true believers in private equity. There are absolute true believers. They are true believers. So they're seeing what's going on with the NBA franchises that have minority ownership in private equity. You're seeing a couple NFL franchises now with minority 10% or less of ownership of private equity. That's also motivation. They're actually believers, but it's fear. It's absolute fear. West Virginia is not the school that is ready to... No. And I know I did it kind of... West Virginia is not the school that is ready to go on. Not that we know of. And we're pretty sure that's not the case. But they are one of the schools that are saying, yeah, let's do this. We cannot name the school that is ready to go. There is at least one school ready to go. And it's going to come out. It is. I mean, at some point, when somebody writes the story of Brett Yormark trying to get everybody on board with private equity in the Big 12, it's going to come out. It could come out real soon. And then when it does, I'll check back and see if I can expand on it. The ACC is not unified, but it's completely different. They're unable to do much right now with private equity at a conference level. The Big 12 can. And there are holdouts. There's one major holdout. One school in the Big 12 is a major holdout, and one school in the Big 12 is absolutely ready to go. So we'll see if they do it at a school level. And again, now some of you are saying, well, this is not enough information, Greg. As time goes on, like we always do in the Holy Smokes Theater, we're going to be able to give you more and more detailed information. At the end of the drama, you're not going to be disappointed. But this is the only way that I can give this information to you. And, it's just this is the only way I can do it, guys. And maybe I should be holding back. I've got a completely incomplete story. Maybe I shouldn't be saying nothing. But that's not what this channel is. It isn't. It's college football's peek around the corner. We cover everything. And when I have information that I can drop without causing any harm, I'm going to drop it. And then when other information comes in publicly or by PATC, you'll be able to connect the dots. There's a reason why Bavakwa was asked the question. There is a reason why he answered it the way he answered it. There is a reason why every time I talk about the ACC and this crazy theory of dissolution and all that, I never bring up the name Notre Dame. More on that later. Okay, we're going to get to phone calls. Let me know how wrong I got it with my picks against the spread when it comes to the playoffs. Let me know how wrong I got it with my rankings of the top of the 12 quarterbacks, starting quarterback in the playoffs. Let me know how wrong I got it again in anything in college football. The phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333.
From
Rick.
Rick is on the line. The floor is yours.
Well, let me see here. Yesterday, I went with Duke and Notre Dame, which was totally wrong because they're not in the Big 12.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I couldn't, I couldn't at that time.
That was yesterday, and today's today.
Yes, today's today. And who knows what's going to happen next week, what I'm going to be able to say. Or if there's reported stories on it. Go ahead.
But my pick was enough to drag Bavakwa out to make a statement.
Well, again, there is, he's not going to be the last athletic director to be making a comment on this. I think maybe it's possible just some public statements here for the next, for the rest of December and January and February, maybe just public statements alone. I think maybe people are going to be seeing what is that called? What am I thinking of? The lines in the sand at certain institutions.
There'll be deniability or
Yeah, yeah.
what I'm getting a real kick out of is the power that's held by the individual schools in being able to, if they choose, do it on their own and crack that egg. Because the conference, I forget their title, the commissioner of the conference.
Mark?
Well, yeah. What's his title?
Commissioner.
Commissioner. Yeah, the commissioner of the Big 12 or the commissioner of the ACC cannot prevent an individual school, if they choose, like that one in the Big 12 that's head over heels to do it, to go ahead and do it on their own. I'm sure they're making a good case for them to wait on it for their conference brethren to join them for a better deal.
But
your mark can't prevent them, right? If let's just say, I'll pick somebody in the chat mentioned Colorado. If the Buffaloes want to do it on their own, there's nothing Yormark can do to stop them from doing it today.
Probably not. Shoot, I forgot what I was going to say.
But that's going to be really scary for the ACC too, because the same thing when I picked Duke yesterday as one of the two. If Duke were to do it today without anybody else's consent, Jim Phillips or anyone else, there's nothing you can do to stop them. Yet they could crack the egg that would drive the other schools into, hey, we can't wait. Duke's done it.
Yeah. Yes. It's sort of like the prisoner dilemma here. Everyone is fearing the other person doing it and them not doing it. And that fear might be greater than the fear of the consequences of doing private equity. I mean, what if it works? That's the thing. The problem with now, of course, Brett Yormark is trying to do this at a conference level.
Of course.
But when you do that, there needs to be a conference commitment. There's going to be a certain sacrifice. And one sacrifice is to hand over certain, whatever it is, collateral, and however you want to do it, to the private equity. Like private equity might take over a certain segment of the conference's one of their revenue streams to manage it, or whatever it is. I mean, shoot, we've heard, I've said this, one of the frustrating parts of this is we've heard so many credible different stories on this that everyone is... So
it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense what you're saying, because if Yormark's negotiating it, it's a blanket deal for everyone. One school isn't going to be able to opt out of the. Let's say it includes.
Correct.
Let's say it includes football, men's basketball, and women's basketball. And maybe one school wants to say, "No, I don't want my women's basketball included in that." Well, you've got to, because that's the conference deal.
Yeah.
But if you do it individually with a private equity firm, we can negotiate whatever we want. We can do it for football only.
Yeah. So what could happen? What people fear And I think what Tim Pernetti was getting at here, I don't know if I still have that quote up. Hold on. I don't know if I.
Well,
Still...
while you're looking for that, I'm going to put some fear in you. What if hypothetically the Big Ten did it, and Petiti got everybody to agree to it, and it included private equity for men's football, women's basketball, and hockey.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. Big Ten is not part of anything that I'm hearing.
I know. I was just trying to give an example of how individual school may not want what a conference wants.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I just put it up on the screen. Again, I keep putting this up. We're at a very dangerous tipping point. AAC Commissioner Tim Pernetti on the inevitable entrance of outside investment in college sports. He says that PE is inevitable, and it is. It is. Well, at least what I believe it is. Okay, and I think what I think this story is going to explode if it is an individual school that does it first, that cracks the egg first, and not a single conference. I also will say this. I don't believe, I don't believe it's Tim Pernetti's AAC conference that is the first. If a conference does it in the G6, I don't think it's the AAC that cracks the egg. Even though he's been pro private equity, even though he says it's going to be dangerous and it's going to be, but we've heard the AAC is not the name that we're told about among the G6s that could be the first conference that goes into it. So just to put that out there, I'm not going to say anything more about that, but yeah, it's going to explode, Rick, once the egg gets cracked open. The very first time this happens, it's going to be a mad scramble. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, that and it's going to be messy. It's not going to be neat. When a conference does it, it's all bundled up neatly. When an individual school does it, they go out and do it with whomever they want. They could go out and do it with Nike, or Amazon, or whatever private equity firm they how many private equity firms are there to choose from? And they could do it with whomever they want, how they want, which doesn't necessarily mean that another school would do it anything like what they did. See how messy that can get?
Yep.
So that's another reason why I'm sure they're trying to bundle and save conference-wise. Okay, well, did you want to set the stage more, or are you happy the way the stage is set?
I think I'm very happy that I was able to do another show on this, even though people are probably sick of it. But I'm glad that we were able to give an update from yesterday's show. So, but yeah, okay, I've hit about as much as I could today. Yep.
Okay, you don't want to put West Virginia in row 5 or.
What about West Virginia?
Putting them in row 5 of the PATC theater for.
No. Again, West Virginia's changing leadership, so I don't know, but currently they are at the side of Brett Yormark trying to get this done. So.
Okay, we'll leave it there.
Yep.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. Thanks. Great call. And again, people might ask, well, how do you know that, Greg? How do you know that? Well, how do I answer that?
Call from
Larry Andrew.
Larry, can you hold on a minute?
Sure can.
I do apologize, guys. I'm scrambling once again. This is a live show, and I've got stuff coming into me constantly. Some of it I can pass along. I'm just checking. Some of it I can't. Hold on, everybody. Let me do this again here real quick. The only thing I can say about, and Larry is Mr. Mountaineer, so the only thing I can say about West Virginia is, while President Gee supports private equity at a national level when it comes to Super League, and we know that he supports it at a conference level at the Big 12. You might ask, how do we know this? I'm going to say the word allegedly because I don't want to get sued by President Gee. Allegedly. The same how do I say this? The same fountain of information that we received an hour after Neil Brown was fired, and we came on live and said, this is crazy, this is going to sound crazy, but Rich Rodriguez, we got to put him number one because the big money supports him. We didn't know that he was going to be the head coach, obviously. We don't know how the negotiations are going to happen, but we did correctly point out that we believed he was going to be target number one, and we gave you the reasons why. I think the same reasons why West Virginia wanted Rich Rodriguez is the same reason, are the same people who pushed for that candidacy to be fully vetted by Ren Baker and all that. I think is the same power that would be in favor of West Virginia getting into a relationship with private equity at a conference level. That's about the only way I can say it. So I can understand why people say, well, Greg, how do you know this? The fat guy from Minnesota. I think we know this. I think this is one of the keyholes, one of the doors that have been opened to us that we can see. But West Virginia is not the Big 12 program that we know that is ready to pull the trigger. That's not what this is about for West Virginia. That's about somebody else in the Big 12, and there might be others that we don't know. Anyway, Sir Larry, thanks for your patience. The floor is yours.
Hey, Greg, I got to apologize for the last phone call I made. I'm telling you, I vented against Rich Rodriguez, and I mean I vented, and it made me feel good when I said it. But now I'm willing to give him a chance. God said, "Forgive your enemies and and
Oh
keep
my
go on.
God!
And if you forgive, they'll forgive
Oh
you."
my God!
Well, I hope Rodriguez does good. I'm a Mountaineer fan through and through, and I don't give a daggone who the coach is. I guess I shouldn't anyway.
I get it. I do remember your call. You're venting. You didn't want Rich Rodriguez. I think you represented a good portion of the Mountaineer fans. I think you represented them well in your statements. But I also understand now that he's the coach that you're 100% behind him and the football team and the football program. I completely understand it. I loved your last phone call, Larry, because it was authentic. Authentic Larry. And that's what we're looking for at Peek Around the Corner. I always appreciate your call. You do not have to apologize for your last call. It was absolutely brilliant. So go ahead, sir. The floor is yours.
Well, like I said, I'm a West Virginia fan. I bleed blue and gold. I really do. I've been that way since I was 8 years old and watched the first Mountaineer basketball game when Jerry West was playing. And, I still cry every time they lose, just about. I have got to the point where in the last couple of years, I'm tired of watching them lose.
Yeah.
So if Rich Rodriguez can make me happy and win at West Virginia, I guess I'm going to have to be happy he came back. And I think with adding Pat McAfee and some of the other donors are really behind him, I think we have a good shot at coming back and being actually a name in college football again. And I really hope that's the end goal for this. And as far as private equity go, I'm for it. I think these teams in the Big 12 and the ACC have to do something to at least close the gap between the Big 10 and the SEC. I don't think that we can close the gap just by donors and people, because it's going to run out. Yeah. And I think with private equity, and we close the gap by the time the next contracts roll around and we're up there with those teams, I believe we'll get a contract that'll help us stay within striking distance of those two leagues. Otherwise, I do believe that college football is going to fall on its head, because I don't think that teams like West Virginia or Duke or anybody else can keep up being $40-50 million behind every year. And I do believe that we need to have college football as college football, with every team in the Big Four, in the AAC, and all these other conferences, Mountain West, you name it. They need to compete at their level. And if you can't compete at your level, you're going to fall behind. And that's about all I have to say. I really think that they need to do something. Now, I don't know what it is, because I'm not the greatest thinker in the world, but I do know that we're really having troubles at West Virginia getting money enough to go. Now, this year, everybody's in love. Everybody's crazy. Everybody's ready to go. Everybody thinks that this is going to be our year because Rich Rodriguez is back. And if it's not this year, next year would be the end. But I don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm still hoping, and I give our Mountaineers all the credit in the world. And go Mountaineers tonight. And thank you for listening to my speech again.
You got it. I appreciate it, Larry. Beautiful call once again, sir.
Thank you.
You got it.
Bye-bye.
Mr. Mountaineer Larry Andrick, beautiful call. And you know what? His call last time, when he talked about how, Rich Rodriguez, and of course the concerns that he had and how he left and everything, that one single call, just like it imprinted on me again why we have phone calls for the second half of these shows. Because it was an epic moment. The phone calls are the things that I remember in this show. Not me gabbing away in the monologue. And I hope I entertain you and give you information. We've had epic moments during the monologue. But it's the phone calls of the PATC family that runs this show. Hardly any college football YouTube channels have a call-in part of their show. And I still don't understand why, but I don't know. Look, we are one of the smallest. I am the most unpopular host, whatever you want to call it. So maybe that's why people don't use it. Well, whatever. I don't care. This is why we do what we do here at Peek Around the Corner. Live phone calls, national college football YouTube channel. National ones, and there are not many national ones either, because it's easier, it's a lot more. There are advantages to doing a team YouTube college football channel or a conference. There are huge advantages over doing a national one. But I personally could not do I'm not taking any shots at anybody. There are great YouTube channels out there. They do all these team-specific YouTube channels are brilliant. Of course they are. And the conference ones, you get it at different levels. But I couldn't personally do that. I'm just too, I don't know. I could not talk about the Gophers every single week. Or the Big Ten. So, anyways. All right. Phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Medea Hernandez, Vargas Rojas, Flugar is in the house. The moderator, the one who rules with an iron fist. She's on her break at the hospital working hard once again. Let me just check if there's any more information that's come on in. No, I think we've covered it all. I think we have covered it all. It's been a long one today. I do appreciate everybody.
Call from
Evil Badger.
Evil Badger, the floor is yours. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay, Greg. Like I said before, I'm a little disappointed with the Badgers in getting a quarterback that wasn't that great this past year. I really wanted Mendoza.
Billy Edwards, again, I don't have a strong opinion either way. He had some really great moments this year. I mean, if you want to feel good about it, Ryan Willie, go watch, go to YouTube and watch Maryland versus USC. Watch that game. Watch the plays that Billy Edwards made in the second half. Some of those plays he made it all on his own. Just don't, just avoid the Minnesota-Maryland game because Billy Edwards was horrific in that game. But against USC, he was outstanding. So he does have, maybe Luke Fickell, maybe there's something there. Maybe they see something.
But I'm a little concerned that they keep going to the portal for quarterbacks, and pretty soon the quarterbacks that they try to recruit, I'm afraid that they won't come to Wisconsin because they're always going to the transfer portal for a quarterback.
I'm sorry, what was that, Ryan Willie?
I'm concerned that because they keep going to the transfer portal for a quarterback, that the high school quarterbacks that they recruit won't want to come to Wisconsin because they're always going to the portal.
Okay, so well, here's the deal, right? You've got what's his name? Curtis Smith, the young fresh. You got it.
Curtis Smith.
Okay, so you got him. He's your future, right? He is your future.
Right.
But you really don't want him to be your starter. I mean, you got a brutal schedule. You don't want a true freshman quarterback go through that. He's going to get destroyed. So Billy Edwards, who can make plays with his feet, some crazy plays with his arm. He's going to be your 2025 quarterback.
Okay.
But he's not your future. But Luke Fickell needs a bridge. He needs a bridge to Curtis Smith, right?
Carter Smith.
Excuse me. He needs a bridge to Carter Smith. And Billy Edwards might be a pretty good bridge.
But I think Fickell has promised Curtis Smith that he would have the chance to start this year and have inside track to start in 26.
Yeah. I mean, again, if Carter Smith goes in there and he's absolutely brilliant as a true freshman, he's going to play, right? But
yes,
also, I'm sorry, I'm reading something that's just unbelievably crazy. I think Luke Fickell is doing the right thing. He's got a bridge and he's got the future. Carter Smith is the future. Billy Edwards is the bridge. I don't know, like, my issue is I don't know who the real Billy Edwards is. Because he is, you talk about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He was that this year. But I don't know how much of that is because of Maryland's other issues. Maryland's great running back is on the portal as well, Hembry. He's going to get a lot of interest. I think you're going to be okay, sir. I think you're going to be okay.
I hope so, because I believe that if they don't make a bowl in 25, that Fickell will probably be gone.
Yeah. You might be, sir.
So I had.
All right. Appreciate it, Ryan Willie. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
And again, thank you, Ryan Willie. Again, we are going to veer off just for a moment. Just for a moment. A lot of you are going to get upset with me. But again, the story about these drones, and I understand it. I completely understand it. If you're living in a house in New Jersey, Connecticut, or anywhere else, and you have something flying over your house that you haven't seen before, if you don't think you've seen before, a drone, loud noise, whatever, it might be a misidentified, it might be a plane. All that is interesting to a lot of people. But the part of the story that is interesting is this, in my opinion. Christopher Sharp, DailyMail.com, Christopher Sharp, who does the Libertarian Times, I forget the name of it, obtained an internal government report showing federal agencies knew about the incursions from apparent advanced drones over a year ago, but have failed to put a stop to them. Okay? A report authored by the Air Force, the FBI, and NASA, which has a facility next to Langley, said that third detection equipment and signal jamming had failed in a presentation slide titled Lessons Learned. And there's a whole article on it just released. You've got these drones, or whatever you want to call them, flying over Langley in December 2023, flying over the UK, flying over Patterson Airport, flying over, what was the news story today? Over Pendleton, and we can't bring them down with jamming equipment. They run on a different frequency or multiple frequencies. That's the story. That's why they're having the classified hearing today. I get it's a big deal flying over houses. It is. You don't want one of these things dropping on you. You don't. I get all that. But the big story of it all is they're flying over military installations, and we can't figure out who's doing it, or they haven't told us. And I'm not buying the story about it's ours sniffing out some radiological. I'm not buying any of that, because this has been going on for years, even before Langley in 2019 over a Navy ship in the ocean. Who is controlling these drones, and why can't we bring one of these down? That's the story. And you guys might think I'm crazy, but geez. Quinn Ears is going to the draft. Larry GM, don't believe he's going anywhere. The national media has been wrong about the Texas quarterback over the last 2 years. Don Scruggs is in the house. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. That is the Camp Pendleton that just came out today. In recent days, drones have been flying over Camp Pendleton. Unauthorized drones. Greg, we may think you're crazy, but it has nothing to do with drones. You are absolutely correct, AMAC. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Once again, Tuesday, December 17th, as we push the story forward once again inside the Holy Smokes Theater. Big 12 not quite unified yet on private equity. Today, Bavakwa, the athletic director of Notre Dame, was asked about Notre Dame's position on private equity. They're not in favor of it. They're not going to do it. More and more athletic directors are going to be asked that question, and they're going to have to answer it or avoid it, whatever they choose. Keep an eye out for it. Keep an eye out for all these public reports and articles that are going to be coming out about the private equity invasion. How it happens, where does it come in, and at what level. This has been College Football's PATC. Please, before you leave, subscribe to our channel, open up your notifications, and smash the like button if you've liked our content today. Until next time, which could be tonight with breaking news, definitely going to be tomorrow. Until next time, from all of us at PATC to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.